You open the document. You read the first sentence 3 times. You check your phone, just for a second. You tell yourself you work better under pressure. You tell yourself you're not in the mood yet. You tell yourself you'll start after one more scroll, one more video, one more small reset. The deadline is 3 days away, then 2, then suddenly it's tonight. And somehow, only when the clock feels dangerous, your brain clicks into focus. From the outside, it looks like laziness, but inside, it feels like something else entirely. Why does starting early feel heavier than starting late? If you delay important tasks until the last minute, you're not broken, you're not undisciplined, and you're definitely not the only one. Your brain is not trying to sabotage your life, it's trying to protect you. Because for some people, starting isn't about time management, it's about emotional risk. There's a specific moment when this behavior shows up. It's when the task actually matters. Not the random chores, not the meaningless emails, but the things tied to your identity.
The exam that proves how smart you are. The application that decides your future. The creative project that exposes your taste. The message you need to send that could change a relationship. The more important it feels, the harder it is to begin. Psychologically, this often connects to perfectionism, but not the loud, obvious kind. The quiet kind. The kind where your worth feels attached to performance. Where doing okay feels like failing. Where mistakes feel personal. When you start early, you give yourself time to judge your work, to critique it, to doubt it. And if you're already harsh with yourself, that extra time becomes dangerous. So your brain finds a loophole. If you start late, you remove the window for self-criticism. If it's rushed, it can't fully represent you. If it's last minute, you can blame the timing. If it's imperfect, you have an explanation. Waiting protects your identity. Think about the student who doesn't study until the night before the test. If they get a low grade, they can say, "I didn't really try." That feels safer than trying fully and discovering their limits. Or the artist who never finishes their piece. As long as it's unfinished, it still holds potential. It can still be great.
But once it's complete, it becomes real, and real things can be judged. This delay once helped you. Maybe in childhood, effort was closely watched. Maybe mistakes were magnified. Maybe praise only came when things were perfect. So you learned something subtle. Better to risk the deadline than risk your identity. But here's the part nobody tells you. Sometimes procrastination isn't about perfection at all. Sometimes it's about overwhelm. When a task feels too big, your nervous system doesn't categorize it as important, it categorizes it as threatening. And when the brain senses threat, it doesn't choose productivity, it chooses protection. That protection can look like scrolling, cleaning your room, researching endlessly, planning instead of starting.
Your mind shifts into avoidance because avoidance reduces immediate discomfort. Imagine standing at the edge of cold water. Walking in slowly feels unbearable, so you hesitate, you distract yourself. But when someone counts down from 3 and pushes you in, your body reacts. It adapts instantly. Deadlines are that push. Urgency overrides fear. Adrenaline quiets self-doubt. The last-minute rush narrows your focus so tightly that there's no space left for overthinking. And that intensity can feel powerful. It can even feel addictive. Because for a brief window, you're not anxious about starting. You're just doing. And this is where it gets interesting. The brain begins to associate urgency with clarity. So it recreates urgency on purpose. If calm equals rumination and pressure equals focus, then pressure becomes the safer environment. You might even tell yourself, "This is just how I work." But underneath that sentence is something quieter. I can't tolerate the vulnerability of starting slowly. Starting early means sitting with uncertainty. It means facing the blank page. It means acknowledging that you care.
And caring is vulnerable. In relationships, this shows up too. You delay difficult conversations. You wait until the situation explodes. You only speak when emotions peak. because high intensity gives you a script, calm vulnerability does not. Or at work, you delay asking for help. You wait until the deadline forces you to, because asking early feels like admitting weakness, so the clock becomes your shield. There's also something deeper happening: predictability. When you delay until the last minute, you already know the emotional pattern: stress, adrenaline, rush, relief. It's familiar. Starting calmly has unknown outcomes, but last-minute mode, you've survived that before. It's like returning to an old room in your childhood home. Maybe it wasn't perfect, but it was familiar.
The brain prefers familiar over healthy, and as you get older, this behavior shifts. In school, last-minute work might have worked. The stakes were clear. The structure was external. But in adulthood, deadlines become softer, projects stretch longer, goals become self-directed. Now the delay feels heavier, more complicated. Because the older you get, the more your tasks connect to identity, career, finances, relationships, purpose. And when identity feels unstable, delay becomes stronger. But it evolves too. You might procrastinate differently now, more subtly. Instead of doing nothing, you stay busy with low-risk tasks. You answer messages. You reorganize plans. You consume information. It looks productive, but it protects you from starting the thing that matters most.
This isn't immaturity. It's identity protection adapting to new life stages. And beneath all of it is regulation. Delaying reduces immediate anxiety. It lowers the emotional temperature by shrinking the timeline. If there's only 4 hours left, your brain doesn't have space to spiral about long-term consequences. It only has space for action. Pressure becomes an anchor. The ticking clock becomes a boundary around your thoughts. Inside that boundary, there's less room for self-judgment. In a strange way, last-minute mode can feel like home. Not peaceful, but familiar. Like wrapping yourself in a heavy blanket. It's intense, but contained. Starting early feels like standing in an open field with no walls. Too much space, too much possibility. And possibility can be overwhelming when you're used to operating in urgency. So you wait, not because you don't care, but because you care deeply. Because your brain learned that reducing time reduces self-criticism, that urgency reduces overthinking, that pressure creates focus, that delay protects identity. It's a strategy. An imperfect one, but a human one. You're not lazy. You're navigating the tension between who you are and who you're afraid you might not be. You're managing fear in the only way your nervous system learned how. And maybe the most important thing to understand is this: procrastination isn't proof that you don't want success.
Sometimes it's proof that success matters so much it feels dangerous. So if you see yourself in this pattern, it doesn't mean you're flawed. It means your brain once found a way to survive pressure, judgment, and expectation. It means you learn to protect your sense of self. And even if the strategy feels exhausting now, it came from intelligence, from adaptation, from wanting to stay safe. You are not behind. You are not defective. You are not the only one staring at a blinking cursor, waiting for the right moment to begin. You're human. And sometimes, being human means needing the clock to get loud before your mind can get quiet. That doesn't make you weak. It makes you someone who learned to cope in a very specific way. And understanding that softens the shame. You don't have to turn this into a flaw. You don't have to label yourself. You can simply notice it. The way you wait, the way you rush, the way you protect yourself from being seen too clearly. There's nothing broken here. Just a brain trying to keep you safe. And that, in its own complicated way, is something deeply human.